Hello everybody, I'd like to tell you a story. Now this story is quite special because normally it's the woman getting stalked by the man, but on this occasion it's a female stalking a man, proving that the door swings both ways. Now I've been telling this story for about 17 years, but this time it's different. This time I've managed to track her down and asked her if she'd be willing to do an interview regarding the incident, and as the restraining orders run out years ago, she's agreed. Now obviously she's wished to remain anonymous, so throughout this story we'll be referring to her as Teeth. After each section of the story I'll be asking her a question about the incident and finally getting my answers and hopefully some closure. Also she's agreed to do her own lines in the story for nothing more than a litre of white lightning. It all started one Sunday afternoon after dropping off my kids at their mother's house. On my way back home, I called into the local shop, and as I'm browsing down one of the aisles, I noticed this dirty, dishevelled woman with brown stalactites for teeth giving me a great big smile. Not wanting her to know how sickening I found her, I politely smiled back, thought nothing of it, and went on my merry way.
So, I guess my first question would be, what was it that first drew you to me?
Well, what I really liked about you were your toes, because they're like a tiger, and you got fit muscles.
So I left the shop and was on my merry way home, eating my jelly dummies without a care in the world, when I heard,
"Here, tiger boy."
I turned around to find the same hideous woman standing just a few feet away, holding an off-licensed carrier bag with a bottle of white lightning in it, grinning intensely at me.
"I really like your tiger toes, what you've got."
Thank you,
I said.
"Can't touch 'em."
I didn't realise at the time, but in hindsight this was probably a bad move and definitely stoked the fire. I put out my arm, and as soon as I did this, she put her free hand on my forearm and she ran it up to my bicep and squeezed.
"Well, it's really nice. I bet you're dead strong."
I said.
Thanks.
"Do you want to have a drink with me and that?"
No tar, love. I'm off home to watch a bit of telly before I get a bath and go to bed. I've got work tomorrow.
"I'll come and watch telly with you."
No, it's alright, love. I've just got rid of kids and I need some alone time now.
"Oh, maybe another time then."
Now when I answered this question, I could not have foreseen the future, as I had lived in the area around 3 years and had never seen this woman before. She didn't know my name or where I lived, so thinking I'd never see this woman ever again, and just to be polite I answered,
Yeah, we'll see one day maybe.
"My name's Teeth."
Oh, it's really nice to meet you. Well, I'll see you later.
With this I quickly began walking toward my flat across the car park.
"I'll see you later, love,"
she said as she disappeared around the corner. Now it's important to point out that my flat was a high-rise and there are 2 blocks. The last thing she saw was me walking straight down the middle of both blocks. Keep that in mind for later.
That time when you asked me if I wanted a drink, what was going through your mind at the time?
"Well, I just thought we could have a drink and stuff. You know, get to know each other and have loads of fun and that. And everyone likes cider, don't we?"
Then about a week later, it was a Thursday, Payday, and I get home from work. I lived in a high-rise at the time, and in between each set of opposite flats was a small corridor, like a foyer with a single door leading to the lifts. The top half of this corridor is all glass, like a giant window. So as I came out of the lift I can see my front door, and there she is, stood right outside my fucking front door. She sees me and smiles, reminding me that she's certainly not a fan of oral hygiene. So I opened the foyer door and stepped into the little corridor.
What are you doing here?
"Well, I know that you've got paid today, and I've got £3.58 change, so I just thought, like, what we could take us up to the shop, and we could get us loads of beers and that, and then we can come back here down to yours, we could cuddle up on the sofa. Then we can get drunk and that, and watch some movies and that. We got some good movies."
How the fuck did this woman find out where the fuck I lived? And more to the point, how the fuck did she know today was my payday? This unsettled me slightly, so I became a little more nervous and replied,
Are you out of your fucking mind? Don't drink, I've got no interest in you, and I'm certainly not going to spend even a single penny of my wage on you.
I just want to get to know you and that.
I said.
Well, I'm not interested, so please leave.
And please.
Yes, she knew my name.
Fuck off.
I told her whilst pointing toward the lift.
Please. Can't I just come in for 5 minutes, please?
Leave?
And so she turned and left.
How the fuck did you know where I lived? And that I'd been paid that day? And how the fuck did you know my name?
Girl never reveals the secrets, but most of it, what I found out was because I'm a pisshead and Jeremy Kyle's only on for half an hour, so I had plenty of time to, follow you around and that, and asking around and that, and asking about Tiger Boy.
So a few days later, I'm sat in my flat. It was a Saturday night, and usually I have my kids every single weekend, but this particular Saturday they were on holiday with their gran. So I was sat home alone watching Supernatural. Now when I was younger I had this rule where if you were my friend and you came to see me, I'd have you walk straight in so that if there was a knock on my door, I would immediately know that it's an unwanted visitor. So I'd become akin to people just walking in. So I'm watching Supernatural sat on my sofa, and I hear my front door open and close. The living room door was about 1.5 meters behind the sofa and on the right hand side wall. So when someone enters my residence, I don't actually know who it is until they walk up to the side of the sofa. After the front door goes, I'm expecting one of my associates to appear and chill with me, making a quiet night in to more of a night to remember. Now in hindsight, I did get a night to remember, but not quite in the way I had planned. Because it's fucking her, innit?
Hey babe.
She croaked in a horrible fucking crackhead voice as she sat herself down next to me on the sofa.
What are you doing in my house?
I'm just gonna see you on that because I haven't seen you in a while. Have you got any cider?
No?
What about some beers and that? I'll drink,
We're not having no, you fucking psychopath. Now get the fuck out of my house.
I will go soon.
She then immediately changed the subject and carried on in the same sentence.
What's this, what we're watching?
So I grabbed my controller and I paused my shit.
Get out of my house, please.
Right, I will go if you give me a kiss.
No fucking chance, love. Look, don't make me throw you out. I don't want to, but I will if I have to. But I'd rather you just leave now, of your own volition.
In all honesty, I was terrified of touching her for 2 good reasons. Number 1, if I touched her she could accuse me of rape or some shit. Or number 2, actually fucking touching her. Because there were enough methylate seeping through her fucking pores that if she'd have come into contact with a naked flame or was hit by a rogue spark, she'd have fucking ignited and the whole fucking block of flats would have gone out. So she just fucking stares at me awkwardly for what seemed like an eternity, before simultaneously puckering up her lips and leaning towards me, lightning fast. I was off that fucking sofa in the blink of an eye, and I began demanding she leave, and with this she stood up and smiled at me, then without warning, lunged at me, wrapping her arms around me, and giving me the most unwanted cuddle of my entire life. And then just as I'm reeling from the shock of that, she goes in with a rack of brown knives for her open mouth kiss, and a 90% proof breath made my nose sting. And then as her slimy wet lips met mine for just a brief moment, her gob wide open looking more like she was going to attempt to eat my entire mandible in one go, I lunged backwards away from her like a startled cat. And so now I'm at one end of the sofa and she's at the other.
Oh, just one kiss and I'll go.
I'm not fucking kissing you. Now go. Right now.
Honestly, just one and I'll go.
With this she began to walk forward towards me, and I reacted by darting around to the back of the sofa. She just gave me a hoarse little giggle and a smile before following me round to the back. I then ran round to the front, and then she giggled again and followed. And this process continued into a full-blown case of cat and mouse, going around and around my sofa, me constantly telling her to leave and get the fuck out, and her chirping,
Kiss me, just kiss me, then I'll go, I promise, I swear that, just one kiss.
This went on for about 15 minutes before I picked up my phone off the coffee table in front of the sofa, which I passed on one of my many laps around the sofa, I then threatened her with the police, and she finally conceded and left. Thank fuck. And on her way out she said,
Well, I'll come back tomorrow and I'll bring some cider and that, 'cause I get me gyro from tomorrow.
I didn't even answer her. I just swung the fucking door shut violently in her face and proceeded to lock the door. I then went and sat down to reflect on the ordeal I had just gone through.
Who the fuck invited you into my house?
Nobody, I'll let myself in. I crept in quietly to surprise you. After we finished that chasing game is when I started to realise that there was something between us. You know, like a connection.
Now, over the next few weeks after this incident, I very suspiciously kept bumping into her, and she was fucking everywhere. At the shops, park where I took my kids on a weekend, on the street near my home and near my work. I once even saw her loitering in the graveyard, a graveyard I'd normally walk through to get home. Luckily I spotted her hanging about near some graves, and I knew that she was just waiting there to ambush me, so I just decided to fucking cheese it. She would also randomly walk into my flat another couple of times with pretty much the same series of events unfolding, with the only thing changing is that she started telling me that she loved me all the time, and that I was the one and all that kind of bollocks. And then it escalated. It began like all the other times, walking in, creeping up behind me and wrapping her arms around me, stealing a sly kiss and whispering,
Guess who?
I jump up and the chase ensues as normal, and then shit gets dark, man, really fucking dark. So we get to a point where I'm in front of the sofa and she's behind it, and she stops, walks to the door and then turns around. She gives me this look, man. A look I believe was to show me how horny she was, but because she was hammered, her eyes did this weird rolling thing, and it made her look more like she was having an epileptic seizure.
I think I've really fallen for you, you know.
Oh, that's nice.
I said whilst feeling a bit bewildered and scared. She was wearing a right mucky blue coat that was zipped up, and it looked like it had been pissed on by multiple cats before being dragged through a garden edge. And that's when I realised that she actually had pyjama bottoms on, and then she began unzipping her coat slowly.
I really love you, you know.
By the time I realised what the fuck was happening, it was already too late. She'd opened the pyjama top, revealing a set of mucky tits that looked like well-chewed toffees. By the time I'd mentally accepted what I was seeing, she'd also yanked her pants down, revealing all her mucky fucking greasy looking hairy pubic lice lair on full show. And in an instant she was fucking chasing me stark bollock naked around the sofa again, wailing.
Come to bed with me.
And
We can make it work.
over and over again, and after a few laps around sofa, I collected her clothes by grabbing them as I ran past. I then grabbed her by wrapping her own coat around her, picking her up, and I carried her to the front door. I pushed her out into the little foyer, and she wailed.
I ain't got nowhere to go. He's thrown me out for good.
I swung the door shut again, locked it, and I went back into the living room and I picked up her pyjamas and I took them back to the front door. I unlocked it and I gave them back to her.
What about me bag?
What fucking bag?
I said, puzzled.
Me overnight bag. I know we're gonna go and get some more me stuff tomorrow.
I was extremely confused.
What stuff? What bag?
Well, he's thrown me out because he knows about us, and I ain't buying him cider anymore out me door. I thought I could stay here for a couple of nights and that until I find somewhere safe. Or I thought maybe I can move in with you.
This woman was absolutely fucking nuts and seriously deluded, and I was starting to get used to it. I didn't even respond to the utter bollocks she was spouting. I just said,
Where's your bag?
In the bedroom.
so I walk into my bedroom, and there, right in the middle of my fucking bed, is a grubby green and white head bag filled with, sure enough, overnight fucking stuff, a change of woman's clothing, a toothbrush, a fucking brush, a makeup bag and some shampoo, and then I see it, a box of condoms, ribbed. My stomach turns and I fucking shudder, and I zip the bag back up and I take it to her.
Where am I supposed to go?
Just go away.
I said whilst once again slamming my fucking door shut.
Why did you take your clothes off?
I really like you and I wanted you right now, so I thought I'd skip wasting time getting to know you and we could just do it I've fancied you since I ever first saw you in Euro Foods that day.
So the next scenario isn't really my scenario. I'm not involved, but my old flatmate Matthew is. But my punishment for laughing at my mate's misfortune with her would become evident in a future scenario. So I worked during the day and my friend worked nights. He starts at 6 whereas I finish at 6. He turned up to work at around 5:30 and boy did he have a story to tell. Matthew was awoken from his slumber by heavy warm breathing onto the back of his neck and someone stroking his arm and leg. He whipped himself around to find teeth inches from his face.
Where's Tiger Boy?
She blurted out while she was pulling away from him. As she did this, Matthew realised that she was completely naked. "Can you get out of my bed, please?" He wailed in terror. So she got out of his bed and began getting dressed.
No, sorry, I thought you was Tiger Boy. Where is he?
Matthew told her that I was at work, and with that, she scuttled off, telling him.
Well, tell Tiger Boy I'll be back around later.
Matthew warned me about her and told me to ring the police. And now in hindsight, I completely agree. But alas, at the time, I still thought it was kind of funny. So I made my way home, only to find Teeth stood outside my front door.
What are you doing here again? I told you, I'm not interested at all.
And Teeth just smiled, showing me inside that cesspit she calls her mouth.
I've been thinking and that, and I really think that we should start seeing each other and, see where it goes and that.
And as she said this, she stepped towards me while starting to raise her arms. I darted past her and swiftly unlocked the door. I then stepped over the threshold and turned around and I told her,
How about you fuck off, knobhead?
I then slammed and locked the door. I left it locked the entire night.
What the fuck is wrong with you, and why do you fucking stink so much?
Well, I'm kind of a free spirit, and I've never met anyone who I've clicked with so fast. First moment I saw you in Boo's section in Euro Foods, I just knew we were kindred spirits meant for each other and that. And I don't stink, I just need to wash my clothes because I haven't done them in a couple of months. And sometimes if I'm too hammered to get to the toilet, I just piss myself. But it's usually dry in the morning, and there's a bit of sick on my sleeve from when I wipe my mouth with it after I've thrown up. And I don't get baths or showers because I drink loads of cider which cleans your pores when you sweat.
And so we reach the final chapter. Now after this final chapter, I phoned the police, but I kind of refined and reduced the severity of the situation. So the police said at some point in the next couple of days an officer would come out and take a statement, but before then, the next night she turned up again and my kids were there this time. Teeth would try and pick up my daughter while saying,
Are you gonna be my new stepdaughter when I marry your dad?
And to be honest, that was the last straw. Now I started to take it a lot more serious. You don't fuck with my kids, man. So I grabbed her and I immediately removed her from my premises. I would then get the police out ASAP and I would tell them everything and show them a photo I had of her that one of my other friends had taken of her, buying cider in local shop to show me because they thought it would be funny. The police disappeared. Then about 2 hours later, 6 police officers knocked on my door and informed me that they'd actually found her, hiding in the laundry room on my floor, opposite the lifts. And so the police asked me what I would like them to do. So I asked about a restraining order. The police officer told me something about if she denies me accusations and version of events, it would have to go to court to get the order passed. Was I sure I wanted to go down that avenue? I told him I was, and he said okay, and off they went with her. And so the next morning, I get a call from the police to tell me that she's admitted to all of it and that there was clearly something wrong with her upstairs, and so they served her with a restraining order, and that was it. I never saw Teeth again. So that was the real end. That was the final scenario, which made me cave and phone the police for the first time since this crazy shit started, which at this point must have been going on around 2 months. So I've got a mate coming around to chill and watch Stephen King's Dreamcatcher, and I've got about an hour and a half before he turns up, so I decided to get a bath. So I'm in the bath singing away, relaxing, when I hit doggo, and just assuming it's my mate, I cry out,
Is that you, mate?
and then the bathroom door opens to reveal Teeth stood there in all her mighty stinking glory, grinning at me.
Hiya, Tiger Boy.
And as she said this, she came and sat on the side of the bath. I was frozen with fear and terror, and I just didn't respond. Teeth began scooping up water out of the bath with her hand and rubbing it into my shoulders.
Do you want me to wash your back?
No, not really.
Come on, let me wash your back.
Not happening.
I croaked, still having not fully computed what was unfolding.
God, you're so sexy.
She leaned forward and kissed my cheek. Having this abomination kiss my cheek, I snapped back to reality in an instant and pulled away.
Look, touching me is not a good idea.
And then I said,
Now get the fuck out of my house, right now.
Move up and I'll get in with you.
she said, standing up.
You fucking what? You get in this bath with me and I'll fucking drown you.
She grinned down at me and began undoing her jeans. At this point I had to make a choice. Up until this point I had been sat in the bath at a certain angle to Teeth so that she could not see my reproductive organs. Now if I stayed in this position hiding my private parts, then this stinking, filthy, piss-sodden, hideous fucking chud would get naked and get in the bath with me. Our naked bodies touching. This thought sent goose pimples down my spine and turned my stomach. My other choice, leap out of the bath, stark bollock naked and then throw this lunatic bitch out of my flat once and for all. But this option comes with a few problems though. The main one of course is Teeth will see my widget, and my manhood would be completely vulnerable as it flails about in the ensuing struggle to remove her. It's also vulnerable to being fondled or grabbed or even hit. And the other problem is she could go to the police and tell them that I tried forcing myself onto her. I use it as a threat to do so if I didn't blow her legs off. After a moment's thought and hearing her fly unzip, I decided, fuck it. No one in their right mind would believe someone would want to willingly tap that. So I leapt out of the bath, bear hugged her and hoisted her up and over my shoulder, and I then began walking towards my front door, and as I passed the bedroom she mumbled,
Oh, you're taking me to the bedroom. Oh, I've been waiting for this.
I ignored her, launched her out into the foyer, told her to fuck off, shut the door and phoned my mum. You know, I still think of her sometimes, and I wonder if she's still got feelings for me, whether she still thinks about me, or whether she's over me. Wonder if she still drinks cider, and if she does, is it White Lightning, or has she moved on to a new brand, you know, a cheaper brand, a more luxurious brand, or is she dead from sclerosis of the liver? Maybe I'll never know.
So what have you been doing all these years?
Well, I've become a lot more sophisticated since I last saw you. I drink wine now. None of that cheap 89p White Lightning shit anymore. I only drink the premier stuff these days. I'm a Lamborghini girl now. And it's well expensive and sophisticated at £2.50 a bottle. I've had a few medical issues, you know, yellow skin, jaundice, sclerosis of the liver. I've had a few burst blood vessels, a bit of gout, gingivitis, and a really bad case of thrush that keeps coming back. It's like a right fishy smell, but I've got a cream for it. You can see all the little red capillaries on my nose as well, but that's just me age showing. I never moved on from my split with Tiger Boy. I tried a few relationships after that split, you know, but they never went anywhere and that. I think that they were just using me for sex and cider. So after a couple of weeks I'd suggested that about buying their own ciders, and then they'd just fall apart from there. I'm happy as I am now, in my little hostel room, and getting me dinners at St George's Crypt in Leeds City Centre. I get me dole and not what covers me wine, and pot noodles for a week. So yeah, I'm doing good. I just see it as, you know, Tiger Boy's the one that got away, and that.
And so that's the story of my delusional, deranged, insane stalker. If you have ever experienced anything like this, then please feel free to share your story in the comments on an honest note from my heart. If you are out there, Teeth, and you by some weird chance see this video, I hope you're doing well. I hope that life has treated you well ever since our last encounter. And with that, I bid you farewell. That is all.
Ugh.